This is the old Ohio Insane and Penal Cemetery, located in a very forgotten corner of Columbus's Hilltop neighborhood, kind of adjacent to Interstate 670. Really not a lot of people visit here except for the occasional lawnmower, which at least is good. So as we walk through the remains of this old cemetery, I'll give you a little bit of history. There's actually two cemeteries about 2 blocks apart from each other. We'll look at them both. In Columbus, Ohio, in 1835, they built an asylum on East Broad Street. And this asylum was built to house the criminally insane, lunatics, paupers, mentally retarded people. You know, the whole list. Some of them, like him, actually have a name and a date. Most of them are just unknown. Ma Dodds, kind of like that name. She might have been pretty cool. The old institution burned to the ground in 1868, killing 6 patients who were chained to their beds. Since most of them just were known by numbers instead of names, the headstones for these people are mixed in with the other unknowns. Only one victim of the 1868 Asylum fire, Carolyn Connor, is known, and this is her headstone. As you see looking around, just lots and lots of low markers. Like I said, most of them just say unknown. Even the ones that are taller are just so worn down, there's not a lot left to read. This one became a tree. This is the grave of Jeremiah Whipple, who died at age 24 on May 15th, 1845, while in the questionable care of the state of Ohio. But he showed them. He became a giant maple tree. Good for you, Jeremiah. I like your style. Unfortunately, most of them are unknowns. A few that give dates are pretty interesting. Frederick Leathers died in 1852 at age 72, so he would have been born about 1780. And I wish I knew what the story was between for this young man or woman with an odd unknown name who died before he or she was even 20 years old. Just lots of unknowns. Gonna head out of this cemetery here and go a few blocks down to the next cemetery. That was a two-handed job to shut that gate. Here's the sign. Old Insane and Penal Cemetery. Cemetery was utilized by Franklin County for insane asylum burials and for prisoner and indigent burials. We recognize the courage of past state hospital residents who lived with mental illness and inspired future understanding. I mean, as we head on to the next cemetery, it's a couple of blocks down. I'm not going to make you walk with me the whole way, but it's definitely a lot to think about. I mean, this is 2 centuries of local Ohio history that is quite literally swept behind the trees and under the bushes. You can hear The interstate is literally feet away, and there's no way to get here easily. Just this kind of access road that they use to send the trucks in. It looks like they do mow it every so often. Let's go to the other one and we'll take a look around. All right, here we are at the second of the cemeteries in today's video, the State of Ohio Asylum for the Insane Cemetery for the State Psychiatric Hospital. Now, as I was saying before, the first one burnt down in 1868. So rather than rebuilding there, a couple blocks from here, they put a new hospital on 300 wooded acres along West Broad Street in Columbus. When the hospital opened in 1877, it was renamed the Columbus Hospital for the Insane. This was the largest building in the United States until that title was taken by the Pentagon in 1943. All right, we'll go in here and have a look around. Very similar vibes to the other one. Just a forgotten cemetery near an interstate and the edge of town. A few benches you can sit at. So I found a few pictures of the 1877 asylum, which is also long gone. I couldn't find any of the one that burned in 1866. I'll put the pictures up here. Designers made this building in a style advocated by the renowned psychiatrist of the time, Thomas Story Kirkbride. If you've ever taken psychology classes, his name comes up. It's giant. Like I said, bigger than any building in America until they built the Pentagon. This was supposed to provide a healing environment filled with natural light. This was the 1870s, though. So, although it was supposed to hold about 800 people, it held almost 3,500 patients in cramped conditions. Here's Mother Mary Ellen Rickman. And a couple that you can't read, unfortunately. And a few unknowns. Quite possibly the most interesting tombstone here, and one that it's one of the most interesting I've seen anywhere. It is a plain small marker, just marked specimens. So whether this stone covers cadavers that were unknown, or in some other parts used for medical research, but it's fascinating nonetheless. And this is one of those places like you hear about, I'm sure, on plenty of other videos besides mine, and with much more detail, but this is one where doctors treated patients with lithium and lobotomies and electroshock therapy. They tied them to the bed, they gagged their mouths and held them down with leather straps against their will. Mentally retarded patients in this time were routinely castrated, neutered, so that they would not reproduce, because it was thought to potentially be a genetic thing. I can't imagine what it would have been like at that time. I can't imagine people having to be forced to go through that. There's no excuse for it. It's horrible in every way. It is, I guess, the best they knew at the time. And like I said, there's a lot of videos on YouTube and other documentaries I've seen talking about it, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, just that it's disgusting and horrible. I will say I'm proud of Columbus for maintaining these cemeteries. I've seen some places where they are very forgotten with fallen trees and overgrown grass, and here they are kept nice. They're well maintained. The stones are in pretty good condition, all things considered. Like I showed you, there's benches, there's some lights, there's kept up fences. Some of the stones have actually been fixed up. It's not, you know, it's not enough for the people who had to suffer the way they did, but it's something, and it's appreciated. I'm sure they would appreciate knowing that, and so would the families of these people. A lot of them were indigent, a lot of them were insane. When I was looking through the tombstones, especially in the other one, there were a lot of graves marked in the 1865 to 1870 range, which to me sounds, and I'm talking 25-year-old, 26-year-olds, 24-year-olds, and I can't help but wonder if some of them were Civil War veterans with PTSD, and people just didn't know how to take care of it, so they locked them away until they died. Whew. This is a heavy one, right? Sorry about that. Not used to doing heavy topic videos. I just have always enjoyed going to old cemeteries. I grew up in Connecticut, where there's, you know, town cemeteries going back to the 1600s. We don't have that here in Ohio, but certainly there's some interesting ones. There's a few others in town that I will do a video on if this one gets good comments and you guys seem to appreciate it. So this is just a little bit about the Central Ohio treatment of the insane and the indigent at the time. And this is where they went to their final rest if their families couldn't afford to take the body away and have it buried in Green Lawn or somewhere else. Yeah, so this is like a depressing video. Sorry about that. My next one will be hopefully much more upbeat. I can't imagine it'll be worse. But sometimes we just have to look at the ugly side of things as well as the beautiful side of things. And that's how we appreciate the beauty and the goodness. Well, I'm just gonna sit here on this bench. See? Sitting on the bench here. And I don't know, just look out and think about some of these people and what their lives may have been like before they were institutionalized, and as well as after. And honestly, then I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy this beautiful 80-degree sunny day with the trees and the birds and the insects, and just think about things for a little while. Thank you so much for joining me on this little journey through Central Ohio history. If you're interested in more information about these cemeteries or would like to visit, feel free to hit me up and I can tell you. This one is pretty easy to get to, but the first one is pretty well hidden and in kind of a dangerous area, so I don't recommend going to that one alone, although this one is fine. They're both very approachable, though. Just like I said, ask. And if you want information on how you can help people who are suffering with mental illness or veterans with PTSD these days, I've left a few links below, and there's a lot of great people out there doing some really good work these days. It's not like it used to be. And that right there is a great place to end this video. Thank you so much again for joining me. See you next time.